Now, Britain's Culture Secretary John Whittingdale is in hot water over his relationship with a sex worker. Whittingdale has confessed to having an affair with an escort for 6 months back in 2014. However, he says he had no idea that the woman worked in a brothel. 4 newspapers are said to have known about the story but decided to keep mum. That's because one of Whittingdale's jobs is to regulate newspapers. Now, pressure is mounting on the embattled secretary to withdraw his role in the press regulation. Prime Minister David Cameron has expressed his full confidence in Whittingdale, saying a single man is entitled to a private life. Let's speak to our correspondent Mohammed Walji now, who joins us via Skype from London with the very latest. Now, Mohammed, just walk us through the scandal that's plaguing Prime Minister David Cameron's party.
Well, it's been a tough time for David Cameron and the Conservative Party. It's been really terrible for them, and this revelation of John Whittingdale having a relationship with a sex worker, which ended, I think, in 2014, hasn't really helped the party at the moment, especially because of these 4 newspapers knowing about Mr. Whittingdale's involvement with the sex worker, but choosing not to publish the story because essentially many people believe he was regulating for the press, and that's pretty much why they wanted to keep Mr. Whittingdale on side. So in that sense, it's been a very, very tough time. The Labour Party have called for the Culture Secretary to withdraw from his role of press regulation decisions. They said that this needs to be done for the impartiality of the role itself. Of course, David Cameron and the Conservative Party in Downing Street are fully backing Mr. Whittingdale, as you mentioned, saying that he's entitled to a private life. But what many people are worried and many people are thinking at the moment was, is it really feasible that Mr. Whittingdale didn't know that she was a sex worker? Has he been responsible in the way that he's operated by getting into a relationship with someone that is a sex worker? He denies that he knew anything about it, but there are many people within government and actually in the general population that believe that he probably was aware of this individual being a sex worker. And also the Conservative Party are actually criticising the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, the state-funded channel here in the United Kingdom. They're the ones who revealed the details of Mr. Whittingdale's relationship with the woman on Tuesday. Privacy campaigners are saying that he needs to be stripped of this role as well. And many people believe the reason that the BBC actually put forth the story was because they were unhappy with the way Mr. Whittingdale was dealing with the license fee, and he was thinking about taking some of the license fee that goes to the BBC and wanted to put it into other areas. So there's a lot of criticism there towards Mr. Whittingdale from the Labour Party, and the Conservative Party are criticising the BBC for the way they've handled and released the story. But obviously the BBC are saying that we have to do this. It's an important story because it's a story that the public needs to know, something the Conservative parties don't actually agree with, but the story is being published. And in the next few weeks, we're going to see what impact this will have on John Whittingdale and whether he will have to actually resign from his position.
Well, Mohammed, I'm more curious about the wider implications of this, specifically on the Conservative Party at a time when Prime Minister David Cameron himself is facing criticism over those Panama Papers revelations. It hasn't been a good week for him now, has it?
It hasn't been a good week for David Cameron, absolutely right. The Panama Papers didn't help him, and this scandal has just made things a lot worse. And the fact that David Cameron is standing so strongly besides Mr. Whittingdale isn't helping him either. Opinion polls are now showing David Cameron isn't the most popular person in the country. He's less popular than Jeremy Corbyn. They say if an election is held right now, Jeremy Corbyn would actually win the election because he's that much more popular than David Cameron. And because David Cameron is standing by John Whittingdale, especially after all these revelations have come out, many people continue to feel that David Cameron and the Conservatives are not. People can't trust them anymore. There's a lot of mistrust. It's lies after lies, and protecting people that have been involved in things that they shouldn't have been involved in. And really right now the Conservative Party are in real trouble, and they're going to have to do a lot of damage control to kind of fix this problem and try and get back some of the voters that they've probably lost during these last few weeks, because it has, as you said, been a torrid time for the Conservative Party and David Cameron.
All right, let's see how this pans out. Press News' Mohammed Walji, they're reporting from London via Skype. Mohammed, thanks very much indeed.